The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
Oh yeah, that. The story... Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another comically long review. The timeline of when comic books are greenlit for production can be a little bit iffy. You might remember back to MMPR Pink and how that came out so soon after the Boom Studios comics started that it had to have been at least in the planning stages when those books first released. And likewise, today we have another Pink Ranger focused story that's coming out a little too soon after the previous one for it to be a coincidence. Last month, Sally Slayer returned to the world of the Coinless in Ranger Slayer #1, an excellent story where she united the forces of the Coinless and Drakkon's former forces against... what were they again?
Zombie ghosts in front of a house.
Oh yeah, that. The story ends with her taking the throne by necessity, the only one able to keep the two sides united as the world is being rebuilt. However, that story is only just beginning. Now, again, this is coming out so soon after Ranger Slayer #1, just 1 month later, that the story had to have been planned out this way. I'm not sure why they wanted to start with a double-length issue that was called something else, but anyway, this is clearly the intention, and either way, here we are. So, let's take a look at Drakkon New Dawn issue #1, the first of a 3-issue miniseries. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel to see all of my videos, ring the bell, get your notifications set up so you're notified whenever I post brand new videos, and if you're interested in lending any financial support to my channel, please consider checking me out on Patreon or Ko-fi at OrangeRangerVideos. I'm about to say some names, so apologies for any mispronunciations. Drakkon New Dawn is written by Anthony Birch, pencils by Simone Ragazzoni, colors by Raul Angulo, and letters by Ed Dukeshire. And oh hey, look! Alternate covers! Great! Let's start running through them. The main cover is freaking gorgeous. It's Ranger Slayer in her new Royal Ranger suit, seated on, well, I was going to say Lord Drakkon's throne, but it really looks more like Lord Zed's throne. One small complaint that I've been meaning to get off my chest. While I love this suit, the mouthpiece on the helmet just seems to be a little too big. It throws the helmet's balance off and weirdly makes it look like an Ultraman head. So I wanted to include this. Why include the same cover with no words? Because that's what a virgin cover variant is. I've mentioned before that I wasn't able to find the virgin variant of a certain cover because that's always just the same cover with no text on it. My mistake. 616 Comics and Simple Man's Comics get a really interesting variant. A young and proud-looking Lord Drakkon posing near the head of Rita's statue. I'd imagine this is the moment just after he assassinated Rita, and I just love how much it actually looks like JDF. Big Time Collectibles gets kind of a garish cover, to be honest. A really neon, stylized type look at Drakkon with Iron Man-esque digital rings on his hands. Dan Mora gives us a cover that, honestly, I think I would have found a better choice for the main cover than the one we got. It's similar to Ranger Slayer #1's cover, maybe that's why they didn't go with it, and there's a black and white version as well. Time to apply more foil to an old helmet cover. Lord Drakkon's once again. Interestingly, nothing reflected in the visor here. Jolzar Collectibles gets 2 similar collectible covers. Drakkon slouches on his throne with the entire Lightning Collection MMPR helmet set at his feet, save for Jason's, which is sitting by his hand. Come on, that's just flaunting your wealth. The second version is confusing. I like helmetless Drakkon holding Jason's helmet in a Alas Poor Yorick pose, but then there are 2 more Drakkons on either side of the throne. one pointing and the other attacking. It's not even like it's the 3 different versions of Drakkon's suit. It's the same one all the way across. Weird. Kirby's Comics gets another set of 2 similar covers. One is Tommy as the Green Ranger holding Jason's busted helmet. The art on Jason's helmet is weird, and for some reason the dragon dagger is pointed at an odd angle from the handle. The second is better, though with the same off-angle dagger. It's Tommy as Drakkon instead holding the Green Ranger's helmet, which isn't busted up, showing that this is more of an evolution. Scorpion Comics gets 2 covers that are actually entirely different from each other. The first here has Drakkon in the Evo 3 black suit with the black dragon suit looming overhead. The other is an incredibly photorealistic drawing of Drakkon. What I love most here is the scales in the green part of the shield. The runner-up to that is the stitching on the cuff over here. Slab City gets a more cartoonish kind of a cover, but I like it as a poster. Ranger Slayer in her regular suit with Lord Drakkon looming overhead. There's a stone staircase in the background here. I wonder if that'll apply to anything later on. There's a few covers listed on the credits page that Power Ranger doesn't have, but if Eric couldn't find them, I'm betting they're not there to be found, so let's just get started. We start by finding out that Sally's coronation has not actually stopped the fighting. Basically, while everyone is serving under one leader, they're still used to fighting each other, so fights keep breaking out. Adam here gets Guile's sonic boom kicked by whoever this dude is. So whatever you call the opposite of a 2-page spread, this is it. It flows over 2 pages, but horizontally. It's fine for a reader, tricky for a reviewer. Anyway, Sally is summoned because of the report of an attack on a sentry. She asks Adam what happened, and he says that the guy jumped him, and now his peripheral vision isn't so good. Yeah, this dude apparently kicked his eye out. Well, in this case, I guess he shouldn't have kept his eyes out. The guy says he can't even stand to breathe the same air as the sentries. Zack and Trini talk quietly, Trini saying they should have expected this, Zack sympathizing with the attacker. Sally tells the man how not all of the sentries were sycophants to Drakkon, some joined up out of fear or were forced to, and he can't just go around attacking them. He tells her off, since she herself was right at Drakkon's side once, but she makes it a command from his queen. He asks if she'll kill him if he doesn't, and heading back down to the bottom here, Scorpina is all for it. Of course, Sally isn't, and Scorpina and Zack start going at it. Sally tells him to shut up and heads for her throne, but turning her back on the man gives him a chance to shoot her right in the back. He goes to shoot again, maybe now realizing that he should aim for that unhelmeted head instead of that brand new shiny armor, but Adam chokeholds the dude. Scorpina is impressed and asks where she should kill this guy. Trini still argues for him, saying the stress of the situation just made him lose control, and they should just drop this. Scorpina says that would send the message that anyone could come and try to kill Sally. Here's something I never thought I would say. I agree with Scorpina. I do understand where the former Rangers are coming from, but when someone tries to assassinate a president, we don't examine their motives and then forgive them due to stress. I'm not necessarily saying that this man should die, but Trini says, let's just drop it. No. The man eggs her on, much like Drakkon egged on Kimberly in MMPR 51, funny enough. She may have everyone else fooled, but with her shiny suit and lording herself over the people, she's just another Drakkon. She searches her brain for a compromise and asks Adam and Scorpina what Drakkon would do with people who committed more petty crimes. Adam says Drakkon would toss them into the deadlock. We see everyone headed there as Sally explains in past tense caption boxes about it. Deadlock is basically Drakkon's Alcatraz, an impenetrable prison far outside the city and fortified by an army of robot sentries. You'll note that they pointed out the difference, and I'll mention this later. And all of a sudden, upon hearing about this place for the very first time, she decides that she needs to prove that she is different from Drakkon, and she's going to do that by breaking everyone out of Deadlock.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
She even mentions trying to convince herself that it was a strategic move, a way to gain more allies, but is forced to admit that in the end, this is really about proving that she is not Lord Drakkon. Finster 5 told her, lots of off-panel exposition here by the way, that the place is under constant video surveillance, so sneaking in is a no-go. They bust in, cause a scene, free the prisoners, and get out. Scorpina loves how violent it is, but says the lives of the sentries are basically in her hands. Zach says it's cute how she pretends to care, Adam chiming in that her performance is improving, and she tells Alan to shut up. As they bust in, we get a really visceral statement from Sally, saying she can smell Drakkon in this place, like his scent is seeping into her suit. She jumps to avoid an attack. We see that the robot sentries are not ranger-type sentries, they're just actual robots that are sentries. Anyway, landing on a weak spot in the floor and falling through. She calls Finster 5, asking where she is, but he doesn't know, and the signal is too weak. Oh yeah, Finster 5 reminds me I want to do a quick self-correction. At the end of my Ranger Slayer number 1 review, I mentioned that it seemed like the world reset at the end of Shattered Grid number 1 did not impact the world of the Coinless. I figured that because obviously Drakkon existed and conquered their world, when I figured that the reset would specifically prevent him from ever having existed. However, as was pointed out to me, the fact that Finster 5 is now alive when Drakkon killed him near the end of Shattered Grid means that the reset did impact them.
Space is warped and time is bendable.
Get on with it!
At least you finally put on a mask. Anyway, she quickly realizes that if Finster doesn't know where she is, that means this section is something Drakkon built himself. A secret he told nobody. Whatever is kept behind this door is very dangerous, very hurt, or both.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Alert! It's the Ranger Slayer, the Coinless, and the Traitor Sentries. We need a snappier name. How about Ranger Slayer and the Enemies United? Sounds like a band. This panel is a little weird, but I'm sure will become clear later on. They find that Drakkon had the prisoners working on a Black Dragon Zord? That sounds a lot like the Black Dragon suit, but that's old technology that we've known about for a while, so what is this? Then one of the Coinless soldiers takes a shot at Adam. Scorpina pulls him out of the way just in time and tells off the Coinless soldier, who says old habits die hard. Adam thanks Scorpina, who says that she saved him because now that means that she owns his life. And Adam thinks he's kind of okay with that.
What you gonna say?
Great demonstration of mental breaking down here. Zach and Trini open the cells saying that Drakkon is dead and the Coinless have won. And many of the prisoners attack the two, saying it's obviously a trick, and if they kill them, Drakkon will free them as a reward. Zach and Trini start fighting the people they just freed, wishing they still had their morphers. Here's another 2-page spread with story on it. Interestingly, this time there's about a page worth of picture in the middle, with half-page columns of panels on the left and right. In the room, Sally finds a ranger? She says no, since the suit has restraints all over it, but clearly that is intended to be a ranger suit. A Coinless soldier and a sentry desert, saying there's just too many of them. Adam asks if they should send someone to get them. Scorpina likes his suggestion, but says she doesn't feel like jogging after them. Zack and Trini reunite with them, explaining about the prisoners. Scorpina jokingly hopes Sally didn't make it, but Adam doubts it, saying they believe even Drakkon feared her. Don't ever tell her that. It'll go right to her head. Trini calls and asks if she needs help, but she says that she's dealing with something personal. She asks if the confined ranger was a prisoner, but they just say to leave them. She opens the restraints, even as they keep insisting not to. Drakkon locked this dude up. Either way, they are important. The prisoner attacks her, but Sally realizes that the suit is so restrictive that they are clearly a victim in some way, and they're struggling. Sally finally ends the fight with
a boot to the head.
A what?
She brings this mystery person out, and Deadlock zaps out a big beam. Finster 5 says it's the Advanced Communications Array, as opposed to the Simplified Communications Array, I guess, but he has to trace the signal. Scorpina says the Tin Man is clearly dangerous, and she'll never understand why Sally keeps so many untrustworthy people around her. Trini says that's hilarious coming from Scorpina, who is certainly just waiting until she can sting Kim and take her place. Scorpina says she doesn't have a stinger, and that's offensive. Yeah, that's right, Trini. How dare you assume her species? Although we've seen that Scorpina does actually have a stinger, at least in her monster form. Returning to a coinless city, I guess, they are happy to see the freed prisoners, but get distrusting when they see the mysterious ranger, seeing them as just another ex-ranger to order them around. Zack and Trini wonder what the Tin Man is, while Scorpina basically says to shoot it, though Sally resists. Adam points out that the unknown ranger gave her quite a beating. I'm not sure how he knows that, I guess she told him, but Scorpina tells Aaron that he'll die if he speaks for her again, but yeah, what he said. She does insist on caution, which Sally agrees to. And indeed, the Tin Man Ranger has been locked up with Sally sitting nearby. They ask where Drakkon is and cannot believe that he's dead. Of course, he's not dead, but I guess they have no way of knowing that. She says they're trying to free them from the suit. They do not know who they are, but when Sally asks why they were kept alive, that they know all too well.
Time for backstory!
We flash back to when they were first placed in the prison suit. Drakkon starts to explain that being an evil overlord, you can get tired of all the meaningless affirmations. He wanted someone around who not just didn't want to please him, but utterly hated him. They attack Drakkon, and he delights in the actual contest, the give and take of conflict. And they tell him to stop acting like a crappy poet and to stay down. Third 2-page story spread. Drakkon says he wants peace, just like they do. They say now isn't the time for peace, since Drakkon is insane and must be stopped. They get Drakkon pinned down, but the suit is Drakkon's trump card, activating a zapper that knocks him down. He then says, Drakkon tells the mysterious ranger that he plans to conquer the entire multiverse, showing them the Dino Charge Rangers, and says they will be forced to watch. And after every victory, Drakkon will return to their side and ask how they would stop him. The view switches to the RPM Rangers as the mysterious ranger tries to resist, refusing to help Drakkon better prepare. Drakkon knows that one day their resolve will break and they will help him. And that indeed comes to pass as they give Drakkon a strategy. One that Drakkon was already prepared for. This was never actually about getting strategy. It's half gloating that he's so smart that he's already prepared for every eventuality, and half the debate of strategies against someone who really does want to see him defeated. Now they're going to be kept, not just as a pet, but as a trophy. We then see that Zack, Trini, Adam, and Scorpina are watching this. Adam says it sounds terrible, and Zack asks why he signed up with Drakkon in the first place. Adam says that he had a wife and child who got sick. Yes, the reference came to mind, and no, I'm not making it. And Drakkon promised they'd both be taken care of. And they were. Zack wonders how they feel about him betraying the entire human race, and Adam points out that that is not what he meant by taken care of. Finster 5 comes in, asking where Ranger Slayer is. The mysterious ranger finishes, saying now it's her turn. She says no, her turf, she asks the questions, and they realize they aren't in deadlock anymore. And they are not happy about that, attacking her once again. She calls for the restraining field, and they are caught in a force field square. Finster 5 comes rushing in, saying the transmission deadlock beamed out was sent deep into space. It was sent to the furthest reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy, and we see something coming back the other way. Finster 5 says whatever was contacted, he knows it can understand basic human language. Because remember, basic human language equals English. Sally asks what makes him say that, and he says the message that was sent out was only 3 words. It's all yours. Ecliptor arrives on Earth with an army of Quantrons. This is a pretty interesting story once it gets going. It has a pretty shaky start because, again, I question Sally wanting to show so much mercy to someone who tried to kill her when their society is still on pretty shaky ground. And then learning about deadlock from a crazy person and randomly deciding, just because that person said that she's kind of like Drakkon, to rush this prison and free all the prisoners inside. In fact, this issue really does feel like a whole bunch of setup without a lot of payoff. Deadlock doesn't end up being nearly as important as what was contained within. I would have liked to have seen some more exploration of the prison. Considering the fact that this is only a 3-issue miniseries, why not stretch it out a little bit more and let us see the creepy, dark prison of Lord Drakkon? Ooh, maybe they are able to infiltrate the prison and Sally can see what life is like on the inside, and that is what motivates her to bum rush the prison. Really, what sells this issue for me, and I enjoyed most from it, was Adam and Scorpina. There's clearly a contentious romantic relationship building between the two, which I find fascinating. I'm sorry if this idea starts to edge into being a little too adult, but it's kind of a BDSM relationship between the dominant and the submissive. I am really curious to see where they take this. The more I think back on this story, having gone through it a second time, the less I'm actually sold on it. It was a whole bunch of really, really good setup, but not quite enough action or payoff. The art is pretty good. It gets a little shaky here or there, but I am on board to see where this story goes. Drakkon New Dawn issue number 1 gets a 3 out of 5. Next time on a comically long review, the Omega Rangers face off with a brand new threat while the Dark Rangers prepare to attack the Earth. We'll see what happens there when I take a look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue number 53. That is going to do it for another comically long review. Heroes, thank you so much as always for watching. Now that the video is done, you can let me know in the comments below what you thought of this issue as well as my review of it. Did you feel like it was a little too much setup without enough payoff, or was the story balanced better in your opinion? Tell me down in the comments below, and while you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button and let me know that you enjoyed this video. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. Colors by Raul Angulo. He tells her off, and down to the, yeah. I agree with Scorpina. We don't examine their motives and then forgive them due to stress. But Adam doubts it, saying they believe, and after every victory, Drakkon will return to their side and ask how they would stop them. Would stop him. Zack wonders how they would feel about him betraying the Zack wonders how they would feel about him betraying. Finster 5 says whatever was contacted as what was contained within. deadlock doesn't end up being nearly as important as in. There's clearly a sort of contentious romance.